Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. You know what? I have got to invest in me a microphone only. So that way I don't have to wear this because the only reason why I will wear this is if you're talking back to me and y'all not talking back to me. So I don't need this on. So I need a mic only. So definitely going to invest in that. But happy Sunday, everyone. I am so sleepy. My goodness, I made some good dinners today. So I likely have the itis, is what it is. I made some grilled chicken and some greens, macaroni and cheese, yams, and some cornbread muffins. So I'm a little sleepy. Hi, Denise. Good evening. Happy Sunday. How was everyone's day today? And then how was your week? Let me pull up my talking points while I'm waiting to hear from you guys about your day. I'm going straight to bed when I get done talking to you guys. I was sitting up on the couch trying to keep myself awake. I'm like, oh, I'm sleepy. You guys know on Sundays, that's the day that I prepare myself and everyone in my house for the week. So, hi, Stephanie. So, I am tired and I worked today. I had one customer today actually on my street. It was very funny, but apparently their next door neighbor used to be a notary. It is no longer. So, they needed a notary. Hey, Stephanie, good evening. Happy Sunday. And Denise said, my day was great and my week was also great. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I had a good week too. I ended up finding out some not so good information, but I had some really good information that I can't share with you guys yet because I have to wait for the state to get back to me and they're behind on processing. So what can you do, right? But yeah, can't wait. I'm hoping that I can share this information with you guys on next Sunday. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, right, Stephanie? So, before I get into what I want to talk about tonight, let me introduce myself. So, if you are new to the channel and you're watching me for the very first time, my name is Bergeau. You can also call me Elise. I am the owner of Elise Notary Services and the Notary Education Group. Every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I come on here live to talk to you guys about notary and business related topics, share some tips, and answer your questions in real time. So if you want to make sure that you catch me again on here at the time that I come on, click the bell so you can subscribe and get notified when I will be on. All right? Stephanie said, yes, ma'am. Yeah, we got something exciting going on, guys. So I'm really excited about it. So, anywho, we're going to be talking about notaries not drinking from every cup, and we want to try to avoid the trap of desperation in our business. Okay, so today the conversation is really much needed because I don't think I ever really touch bases on this. I know I've always said not to have all your eggs in one basket, but this is something that I experienced early on too. So it was really interesting that it was a topic that I decided to discuss today. So, one thing about being in the notary business, as soon as you get started, you start hearing about all of these different things that you can do as a notary, right? And what happens is you end up wanting to do it all, so much so you're jumping into everything and not really doing a lot of research, not really taking the time to learn each individual thing. So, what happens? You get burnout. You start being confused about the different things that you're doing because you don't really fully understand them to begin with. And then you end up having that regret. All right. So we're going to talk about that today. So I shared in the Academy support group a message, and this is why I am elaborating a little bit more on it today. So what I shared was it was just a little image, and it said, "Don't be so thirsty that you drink from every cup handed to you." All right, and the reason I shared it is because it directly applies to notaries just as much as it does life. Okay, so every opportunity, obviously, you know what I'm saying, um, isn't a blessing. Okay, so we tend to think that everything that we hear and see that we should do it, and that's not the case. Sometimes we can get distracted thinking that we're supposed to be doing these things and we should actually be focusing on other things. Okay, so some of those things can be detours. All right, and flat out just dangerous to your brand, your money, okay, because you end up investing money in it before you even looked it up and researched it. And not to mention wasting your time after you finally learn about what it is. And then you think to yourself, yeah, maybe I don't want to do that. So then now what, right? So I'm going to break down the different terms because and it's not to say that anybody's dumb or anything, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm defining the words that I'm using so that you guys aren't kind of just having it go over your head. All right, so I'm trying to think of how to start this off. So what we want to do is we want to have discernment instead of desperation in our business. All right, so first off, what is discernment? Okay, discernment is the ability to perceive, understand, and judge things clearly and wisely, especially in situations that require careful thought or decision making. Okay, like, hold on just a second. Hi, Michael. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Oh no, here come my cat. I was trying to lock her out. My cat is doing this new thing where she thinks she's supposed to sit right here on the desk while I'm on here. And so you're going to see her on the camera. She's going to be here in a minute because I see the door creaking open. So, in the context of your notary business, discernment means recognizing which opportunities align with your purpose, skills, and values. Okay. Filtering out distractions or offers that may look good on the surface but are not necessarily beneficial to you long term. Being able to say no without guilt. Um, oh, okay. I thought something else popped up. When something doesn't serve your goals or protect your peace. This is Princess, everyone. She's not going to leave, so she'll just be here. So, true discernment is rooted in clarity, confidence, and having self respect for yourself, okay? Because let me tell you, when I first became a notary, and I think I've told y'all this story before. When I first became a notary, I didn't become a notary because I was watching all these commercials about how to get money quick. That's not why I became a notary. I became a notary because I had a travel agency. And with the travel agency, my idea was that sometimes people will need a notary to notarize documents for them. And so I wanted to be an online notary. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to even do face to face. I wanted to be an online notary. And the reason why I wanted to be an online notary is because when I had my travel agency, I was looking to get a virtual mailbox because when I would do travel packages for people, I would print up their cruise tags or print up their itinerary and I would send them a thank you gift for booking with me or a thank you for referring someone to me. And so I wanted the address to not be my home address. So I applied for a virtual mailbox And for those of you who have been a notary for a while, I'm sure you have notarized one of these. So I had to get the document notarized, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm up on my computer. I've stumbled upon being able to have the virtual mailbox, and I'm like, sweet. I'm like, oh man, now I gotta wait till tomorrow, and I wanted to lock in my address, and I don't know what the time frame is. I don't know if they would have saved it for me, and then I could have just did it in the morning. Excuse me, but I saw that they offered online notary, and I was like, oh, I don't even have to wait till tomorrow to go get my application notarized. And although $25 is more than $10, I was like, I don't care for the convenience. I don't have to leave my house. So I got online with a guy, and I don't remember. I think he was a Florida notary, but I asked him if I could pick his brain a little bit after we got done with the whole signing process. He told me, yeah, told me what to do, how to get into it. And a year later, I applied to be a notary. So that's why I became a notary. But as soon as I became a notary, you know how the computers and your cell phones are listening to you. Everything started popping up on my timeline. I'm watching YouTube videos on how to do notary, and all of this, be a signing agent, make all this money start coming up. And then you had the field inspections. Then you had the permit runner had came about, and then this and that and this. I'm like, whoa, it's so many things that I can do as a notary, and I was so intrigued. Now, typically, I am the person who will see something, do the research before I get into it, but I didn't. I was just so excited about doing this new thing, and I saw that not only could I add being an online notary to my travel agency, but I could add other stuff up under my belt too. And I was excited, and I invested money, I invested time, and some of my time was absolutely wasted. And that money, I'll never get it back. So having discernment is super important. All right. Now, what is desperation? It's basically being desperate. You're so desperate to just make sure that you have so much going on. You want to be very attractive to customers when they're looking for a notary, right? Because you want to be known as offering all these different services, and you want them to know that you can do everything under the sun. But can you? Can you really do everything under the sun? Did you ever I mean, really take out the time to learn all the services that you are offering, you know? And that falls in line with taking every job, no matter how low paying or risky it is, just because you want to stay busy. Jumping into multiple specialties without research or even preparing. And accepting clients who drain your energy, okay? And sometimes can push you beyond your professional limits. And I've been there. I absolutely have been there. You guys know me. I never claim to be this perfect notary mentor. I never make a mistake. I never make any dumb decisions. Wrong. I'm human. I've made dumb choices. I've messed up. And I hope that you see that that makes me a better mentor and teacher, because not only can I share with you the ups, I can also share the downs. So it's a dangerous game though when you're desperate and you're just trying to get into everything because you want to look good in the eye of the public. You don't want to be so thirsty and hunger for money that you do anything. Okay. You absolutely want to make sure that you are choosing to get into services that fall in line with your values and your mission and your business. And everyone should have that. And if you don't, I want you to seriously think about that. Okay. What are the values? What is the vision? What's the mission of your business? Everybody wants to make money, and why do you want to make the money? Because I want to eat. Okay, well, how much money do you want to make? I just want to make more money than what I got. That's that's not that's not a realistic thing, because then you're going to always just want to be making more money and more money. You don't have a dollar amount. You don't have any type of goal. So you'll be chasing forever to have more than what you got, because that means that you're never going to have enough. Okay? You're never going to have enough if you always chasing for more. I just want to have more than what I got now. Good luck with that. Exactly, Stephanie. You need to be specific. All right. So I'm going to talk about some of the things you can get into and why you should be very careful when you're doing it. Okay. So, field inspections. On the surface, it looks like a quick and easy thing to do on the side of being a notary. But field inspections can involve inconsistent pay, unclear job expectations, and sometimes you're spending more time and gas than what you are getting compensated for. All right. And plus, there's often little protection or standardization when you're doing these. Okay. It's kind of just they want you to go to a site and take pictures. You don't know what that site is going to look like. You don't know what the conditions are going to be for where you're going to be taking pictures. You may get dirty. You may get caught out in the rain, which is not doesn't really matter, because I can get caught out in the rain if I'm going to a notary appointment. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of unexpected things that can happen when you're doing field inspections. Um, yes, you're just taking pictures. That's the easy part. The easy part is that you're just taking pictures. Okay. And you may have a form that you just have to fill in. That's the easy part. Okay. But there's other parts to it as well. And so making sure you do your research and see if that's something you want to do. Now, there's different type of field inspections you can do. You could do work site field inspections. You can do house field inspections where you're going to take pictures of houses and their conditions, for insurance companies and stuff like that. Um, I do work site inspections, which is when a business is applying to get some type of business loan or business credit processing software or machine equipment. And the company basically wants to make sure that the business is legit. They're actually a business operating as a business, and it's not just a flyby, you know, something that is made up last night type deal. Okay. So I typically have to go to their place of work. If it's a doctor, sometimes I meet them at the office, sometimes I meet them at their home, but I'm just taking a picture of them and their ID for the doctor verifications. For the workplace verifications, I'm taking pictures of their business licensing, flyers, business cards, their work area, the office, where the staff is, where they're going to be processing the credit cards. So I'm there for some time, you know, and they don't pay a whole lot when you're doing these inspections. I think so for the workplace one, that one sometimes $35, sometimes it's 50. Sometimes I'm there for a little bit, sometimes I'm there for a long while. So it's not something for me that I want to do a lot more of, okay? But every person's business is made up differently, okay? And what fits your business fits your business. But you want to make sure that you are asking yourself the important question. Make sure that you're not just doing it just so you can say, yeah, I do that too. Look into what it includes and learn. And I know, people hate to see this. So many people are offering courses. People are offering courses to people who don't want to do the research on their own. Okay. It's easy for them to offer a course when you have so many people who will rather have somebody else give them the information. And people are not going to give you information for free. Most people, anyway. Okay. So that's that. You know, anybody have questions about field inspections before I jump into the next one? Michael said correct. Yeah. The next one, which is one of my favorites, apostle facilitation. Okay. Now, apostle, that word sounds super fancy, right? And it is, but it's also legally sensitive, right? So apostles, those are state and federal level certifications for documents that are going outside of the country. Okay. So if you're offering this without clear knowledge of the procedures, then you could land in, you know, maybe some legal gray areas. Okay. The most important thing about doing apostles is making sure that you are following the state, excuse me, following the state guidelines. Every state has the instructions on their website. Okay. It's nothing wrong with you taking a course on how to go about doing it, but every state has their own set of instructions on how to help you help the public get an apostle. You don't have to have a special certification. Um, having, taking a course to acquire the skill is, very beneficial, obviously, because if you send this document to the Secretary of State, they're not going to call you and tell you something's missing. And sometimes it's not a quick turnaround. Some Secretary of States are starting to crack down on notaries coming up there to facilitate the apostle process because they are taking up too much of the people's time, and they want to be able to cater to the public before they cater to you, who is just helping somebody else get that done. Anybody can do an apostle. The customer themselves can do it, but they just don't want to do what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to read the instructions on how to do it. So they come to you and they prefer you to read the instructions on how to do it and get it done. And sometimes you don't do it, so look at the state website on how to do it. And then let's not forget, I offer a free course. Judy Lawrence has a whole institute. All right. If you're not familiar with Judy Lawrence, she is the queen of apostles. Okay. So that's who I learned from. And the course that I offer for free is just basic. She goes into an in depth and she offers continuous, like discussions and stuff like that. Like she offers a whole slew of things just based on apostles. So whichever way you decide to go, you're not going to lose out on that. It won't be a waste of your time if that's something you actually want to add as a service. Let me see here. Stephanie said, interview companies you are doing inspections for. Exactly. Research them because you may not want to work with all of them. Okay. Michael said, I have been looking into field inspections. Good. Good for you. Definitely do your research. All right. Anybody have any questions about apostles? It's this new trend going on, but don't jump into it if you don't understand the requirements in the different states. Stephanie said, I don't know why I'm afraid to do apostles. I don't know why you're afraid either, because you know how to notarize documents. Okay, you know how to, what did Michael say? Negative. Negative to what, Michael? The apostles? Or you say you don't have any questions? The word alone is scary. Stephanie. It's really actually easy. It really is. It's not very difficult. All right, guys. Next one is the permit running, right? Now, permit running, that can seem like a quick add-on, right, for your notary services, but it often involves waiting in the government offices. We all know waiting in government offices are never quick. You may get lucky one day and go in there like, oh, I didn't wait that long, but overall, it's always a freaking wait. I went to the county clerk office to get a document notarized for, what was it? It was for something. I forgot what it was for, but I needed it. Oh, when I was applying to get my women-owned business certification and minority-owned business certification, I had to get a document notarized through the county clerk. And when I went in there, they did not have a long line or nothing, but I still ended up waiting at least 30 minutes. I was looking like, this is so crazy. It just never fails, never fails. But in any event, it involves waiting in government offices, dealing with unclear project scopes, and handling paperwork outside your expertise. Okay. So without clear contracts or expectations, you can get stuck doing work outside your pay grade. All right. So when you're thinking about doing, permit running, you want to ask, is this worth the time it takes away from higher earning notary work? All right. As Michael said, no question. I agree with Stephanie, a little uneasy about stepping out. That is a very valid reason. Okay. And that is why I am talking about it, because you, at least you guys are thinking about it, and it's like, I'm not sure, but you have some people, they just jump right into doing things and they don't look it up. They create a whole page on their website saying they do the service. They have no idea how to do it or what it includes. Then they make up um these fees, and they don't even know how much the type of service runs because they're not doing their market analysis, which you guys hear me talk about frequently. And so they're just throwing a number to a service, and you don't even know what you're doing. So yeah, like I said, at least you guys are using discernment when it comes to adding additional services. Okay. Now, signing agent work. This is a popular entry point into full-time notary work, right? Because you're going to be getting paid more and spending less time to provide the service you're providing. Okay. But it's not passive income, right? You have to directly do it, and then you would get, paid sometimes the next day, for some of us, if we go direct, we get paid within the week or the next day. You work with a third party, you may get paid 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, so it's not passive income at all. Um, you you should have proper training when it comes to doing it, because what people don't understand is when you are dealing with documents for real estate, sometimes a lot of paperwork, and we're not just there to witness them sign. You're not. There are going to be some documents they have to fill out, and you need to tell them where to fill the information out. There are going to be some places don't need to be filled out, some places do need to be filled out, some places need to be initialed, some places need to be signed, some of them need to be dated, some of them don't. And so you're doing way more than just signing after they sign. So it is good to have proper training. Okay, it's good to have a good understanding of loan documents. We don't need to be going in there and reciting every document like it's a dictionary, but you do need to know and have a general idea of what this document is for. Okay, I'm real good on just giving them a general description, and my general description works. I don't always have to explain documents, but sometimes the signer does want you to. I'm real good at reading the title of the document and pointing where they need to sign. But sometimes I have them say, well, what is that? I'm like, oh man. I'm like, oh, you're one of those people. Okay. I don't say that out loud, but I think to myself, okay, they're one of those people. So, all right, this document is this. It basically means, okay. So you do want to have a good understanding of what the documents are. You want to make sure that you do have errors and omissions insurance. So many times I've heard notaries say, well, I'll get that insurance when I start doing the real estate signings. Well, what if you get a call to do it tomorrow? They don't just issue policies same day. You may get the policy, pay for it, and then it goes into effect tomorrow. You know what I mean? So it's not, if you're going to plan on doing any type of real estate documents, and this also means deed. And if a person calls you to do quick claim deed, yes, general notary, but it's still related to real estate, and the liability is high. So you need to have errors and omissions insurance regardless of if you're a signing agent or not, because a lot of people will call you to notarize a ladybird deed, a quick claim deed, a life estate deed, a power of attorney. Those have high liability. So, and they're all general notary. So it does not matter if you're doing real estate or not. You need to have that insurance coverage. You want to protect yourself and your assets. Okay. And most importantly, confidence. Confidence will take you very far when you are working with title companies and signers who may be real estate investors, or they may have a business that requires a lot of notary and they want to work with you. They want to work with somebody who's confident in what they're doing. All right. You have new notaries, they often just jump in thinking it's easy money. And the reality is, if you're not prepared, if you're not getting that professional development to learn what it is that you're going to actually be doing, mistakes can cost you and the signer a whole lot. All right. So ask yourself, am I fully trained and insured to take on the responsibility of being a signing agent and doing that type of work? All right, Stephanie says, I love being a signing agent. That's actually how I started my business. I didn't do general notary work till 4 years later. Okay. You know, when I first, like I said, when I first started, I found out about signing agent like maybe a month later. And it was not something I was quickly ready to jump into. It really wasn't because I thought about that. And in the area where I was living in, um, those houses were a lot of money. Okay. And I always ended up in very high end, very expensive areas. And so if I did not have the type of insurance, or the tier of insurance that I did, I wouldn't put my name on none of that stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Too much of a liability. Mm-mm. I can't afford to be messing up and missing their deadlines. And, I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. I do a lot of them now, but no, when I first started, oh, no, no, no. Stephanie said, I couldn't agree more with having enough E&O insurance, especially if you are looking to be a notary full time. Absolutely. Absolutely, Stephanie. Now, the next one, wedding officiant. Now, this one you would think piece of cake, right? I mean, what all you doing is you're reading a script, asking the group, the bride and the group, do they agree? And we sign in, and I'm moving out the way. You always hear what's his name, Mark Grolu, always say, make sure that when it comes to you may not kiss your bride, you got to hurry up and move out the way so you don't get into their very important photo. You don't want to be caught in that photo of them kissing each other. But come on now, see, just sit or get down. But as romantic and beautiful as officiating a wedding is, it's also a major emotional and legal role. Okay. It requires you to be punctual, be able to articulate. You can't, and I know this sounds bad, but you got to know how to talk. Okay. You're going to be speaking in front of a crowd of people. I know you're going to be speaking to a crowd of people. They're going to remember this day for the rest of their lives, what I'm saying, for as long as they're married and then some. They're going to be showing this video to their kids if they don't have any already. So you want to make sure that you're talking in a way that everybody understands. Okay. And sometimes you have to act as the event coordinator in the moment, which is not something that they're paying you for. Like you're like, I didn't sign up to, but when you're there, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're there now. So are you ready to manage that responsibility on someone's most important day? You got to ask yourself, do you enjoy public speaking and ceremony planning, or are you just following a trend? Again, because becoming a wedding officiant is super easy. All you got to do is fill out the form online and they literally email you, or I think it may come up on your screen. You're an officiant, yay. Order this kit and you're ready to go. No formal training, nothing. You have to choose whether or not you want to gain the skill. Okay. And you have some people that is like, I'm not doing all that. If somebody call me, they call me. If they don't, they don't. Well, why then why even offer the service? I mean, really. The biggest thing I hate to hear people say is when they're offering a service that they don't really care. If you don't really care, why are you offering the service? It doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be doing the job then if you don't really care. So, wedding officiant. Is that something you want to do? Next, hold on just a second. Okay, hold on, guys. My daughter is getting her hair done, and I think they just finished, and I need to send the money. So, hold on just a second while I do this. Okay. So silly. All right. So, wedding official. Oh, Stephanie says she wants to be on camera. Yes, you do. Okay. Let's see. She just started doing that, wanting to be up on my table and stuff. Never did that before. All right, hold on, guys. Just need to get the lady's number and name. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Sheesh. All right. Let me send this so she can see the idea. Send it. All right. All right. My hard-earned money gone. Just that quick. All right. So, what is the next job that people want to jump into? Oh, document translation facilitation. Now, this one is tricky because, notaries, any notary, and you don't even have to be a notary, but you can assist in facilitating document translation. All right. All you're doing is helping the clients connect with a reputable third party service to get their document translated, and then you can charge a facilitation fee. So you charge the facilitation fee and you charge the fee that the company charges, and then you pay the company their fee, and then you keep your facilitation fee. That's how it typically works. However, most states do not require certification for translators. So notaries who understand and speak a second language, they have to make sure they proceed with caution if they choose to translate the documents themselves, okay? Which some notaries do. They're like, well, I already speak the language and I know how to translate this, so I'm gonna translate it myself. But the issue is you can expose yourself to liability for any errors or inaccuracies, okay? Because sometimes these documents are needing to be translated so that they can go to the immigration office, or they need to go out of the country. So if you didn't do it right, you could be holding that person up. It's kind of just as sensitive as real estate, you know? Those may be high priced things that they got going on. Immigration, that's a high priced thing. That person may miss a deadline. It already takes a long time for them to get any type of feedback from um, the immigration office. So if you hold them up, you know what I mean? So, and then let's not forget, if the document is translated, the company who's requesting that may want it to be notarized. As a notary, you cannot notarize your own translation. So you're still going to end up having to pay money for somebody else anyway, because you can't, notarize your own stuff. So you got to get a notary to notarize the translation for you. Okay. So you got to ask yourself this question. Are you doing this because it aligns with what your company offers and what your vision and mission is? Or is it something that you just follow in a trend like everybody else? We just got so many trends going on. And I'm not going to say that anybody's wrong for following it. Okay. You can make more money if you're doing several services, but you're not going to make the extra money if you're offering these services and you're doing it wrong. All right. Remember our last meeting we had? Bad news travels fast, just like good news. So we don't want to be putting bad news in people's head about our business because we're providing a service and we don't know what we're doing. Okay. So you need to know what you're getting yourself into when you see these trends pop up. All right. You even got the trust deliverer, I think it's called. Help me out, Stephanie. Is that what it's called? Trust delivery agent or something like that? And they do have training for that. You know, I don't really know what it includes. It sounds like something I'm already doing. Okay, Stephanie said yes, what it's called. That's something that I'm already doing, so it's not anything that I need to get training for. But for those of you who have not done that before, and you don't know what it is, then it may be something you want to look into. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to talk down about anyone who's offering courses because if you don't want to do your own research, then you're going to have to pay the price that they want you to pay to learn it because they did the research for you and put it all together into a course so that you can easily find everything you need to know as opposed to going this way, that way, this way, that way. Okay. So, yeah, trust delivery agent is another one. Okay. Now, we have to make sure that when we are building the brand for our business and we're setting these goals and we got these missions and we got the vision, you want to make sure that you also set boundaries. Okay. You need to have those boundaries. Those boundaries are going to keep you sane in your business. So you can't do everything when they need you to do it. Okay. If you're going to offer additional services, acquire the skill to do it. Don't just think about it and put it on your website and just say you're going to learn about it when somebody calls you. That's the wrong time to do it because when a person calls about a service, they typically have questions. I know I would. And then if you throw a number at me, I want to know what does that number include? And if you can't tell me, that just lets me know one thing. You don't know what you're doing. You got this on your website and you don't even know what you're doing. And then I'm not going to call you back. And if somebody asks me about it and they come across your name, I'm going to tell them they don't know what they're doing. You know? So research before you jump in. Research before you do register or buy courses from people. You want to make sure that they are not someone who just threw the stuff together and they don't really know what they're doing either. Because you got a lot of people that's doing that too. They're just really good at doing research and they're throwing a course together and they really don't know anything about the information that they're selling you. Because if you reach out to them to ask them a question, they probably won't be able to answer it or they probably won't even respond. So then now you got your money wasted, your time wasted. Okay. And you need to audit your energy. I know you're like, audit your energy. What? What excites you versus what drains you? Okay. If what you're trying to get into isn't motivating you to do it, then it's probably something you shouldn't be doing. It's point blank. All right. And you need to understand the liability and legality of every service that you offer. I was offering, and I discontinued it. I was offering immigration assistance, immigration document assistance. And I did that one time for a person, and I don't ever want to do it again. Oh, I'm sorry, I did it twice, two different people, and I don't ever want to do it again because it was just too much. It was too much. I didn't charge enough, and I didn't do enough research because when I was helping them with it, it kind of made me nervous. You know what I mean? So don't just do things just because, oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, I can make this much money doing it. Don't do that to yourself. If it makes you feel anxious and nervous like I was feeling, it's not something that you should be doing. I don't care how much money you can make on it, because if you're nervous and feeling anxious, then you probably won't do it right. And then, oh my God, to mess up somebody's documents that they need to get something done in a specific time frame, and it involves a lot of money, or it involves them changing their whole life, and you just mess it up because you was trying to get a quick dollar, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not. Would you want someone to do that to you? That's what you gotta really think of. All right. So you want to specialize to scale. You don't need to do everything to be successful. You just need to be really good at everything that you do. And that's all I have for tonight, guys. Anybody have any questions? Every time I get on here, my lips get super dry. Anybody have any questions about all of the different services? Thank you, Stephanie. That's what I try to do. I try to make sure that I give everybody something that they can use. All right, good, Denise. Good, Michael. Now you saying yes, you do have a question, or yes, you good? So I covered all the different services. If there's any service that I didn't cover, though, please let me know, because that's the only ones I know of so far. The field inspector, I'm sorry, apostille, facilitation, permit running, signing agent, wedding officiant, document translation facilitation, what is it? Immigration document specialist, um, trust delivery agent, I think is what it is. And then it was another one that came out briefly. Oh yeah, the fingerprinting, the cost of digital fingerprinting. Do you know anything about that? Excuse me. Michael, are you in Florida? So what I've learned about fingerprinting is, so if you're going to be offering digital fingerprinting, you have to contact the Department of Justice for that, okay? Because they are the ones that can give you the information that you're looking for, okay? And I did that some years ago, and the information I got didn't make me want to do it. But you should call and get some information. Department of Justice, ask them about offering digital fingerprinting. So, as far as fingerprinting goes, there's two different types. You have the ink fingerprinting and you have the digital fingerprinting. So, ink fingerprinting, those are for anyone who needs to use their fingerprints outside of the state. Okay, outside of the state, if those fingerprints are being used, it cannot be digital. It has to be ink fingerprint. And so you have a lot of people who do offer the training. There's a girl in my group. She offers ink fingerprinting training, and I think it's $35 per person. It's a very nominal fee. And I haven't heard any bad things about her training. Um, Digital fingerprinting, I don't know anyone who offers that. I'm sorry. And I do know that the equipment is expensive. I also know that you don't have to buy it. You can rent it or lease it. And that's a pretty, good fee too. But if you know that there is going to be a high demand for it, then you're going to make your money back. But if you don't have the business for it or the demand for it, I would strongly encourage you to look a little bit more into it to see if it's going to be worth it for you. Did that help answer your question, Michael? Yeah, fingerprinting was another one. It was oh, so you do know how much it is. Yeah. So, but like I said, if you got a demand for it, I have never had anyone ask me for it, so I just was like, I'm not going to look into it any further. But the services that I do offer was asked of me, and so that's why I offered it. Um, I wasn't going to even do the document translation. The guy, not document translation. I had a guy come to me to help him with his immigration documents before I started offering the service. And after I helped him, I decided to offer the service to see if anybody else would need it. Only one other person contacted me for it, and they were in Texas, I think. And I had a session with them, and they really didn't need my help. And also, although I was just basically a quality check for them, which is basically which all you're doing, because you can't tell them how to fill it out, and you basically just are a QC person looking over it to make sure they filled everything out the way it was supposed to be and make sure they put the right information where it was supposed to go. And then that's it. And the girl, she paid me. We did a Zoom or whatever. And after that, I was like, I don't want to really offer this. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I just, some things you do it, then you're like, I don't really want to do that. And lucky for me, it didn't cost me a whole lot of money to get into it, so I didn't really have to take a loss on it. But that's all I know about the fingerprinting. Is I know that you have to contact the Department of Justice. Notary Stars, they had a like a on one of their lives, they had a girl come on there. And so what she was telling me, which is the same thing that my mailbox guy was telling me, is that when you do offer the service, all of the money is not yours. You have to give the city or county their cut of it because they get a percentage and stuff like that. And it was just a lot of moving parts. And I just kind of was like, no, thank you. But the ink fingerprinting sounds way more lucrative to me because, especially with us being in Florida, you know that people are in and out of this place. So I would think that the ink, unless you want to get a contract with people who are doing fingerprints in Florida, I would try to focus on doing the ink fingerprinting to do fingerprints for people who are needing to send them out the state. My mom, she had a hard time trying to find somebody for that because she's a teacher and she does online. So she just retired and she was looking to do the get her fingerprints done for the company that was going to hire her. She had to get fingerprints and send them to a few states. She was able to do digital for tutoring in Florida, but for outside the state, she had a really hard time trying to find someone who do ink fingerprinting. Nobody was offering it. And I was like, well, that's crazy because I see so many people getting into fingerprinting, but people are getting into fingerprinting to do the digital one. The ink fingerprinting don't cost a whole lot of money. You can get those cards and the fingerprint pad off Amazon. It don't cost that much money at all. Exactly. Yeah, Michael. Yeah. So you did your research then. So your question, the question you need to ask yourself is that something you want to get into, and do you want to deal with those requirements? Ink fingerprint, you don't have to do that. You charge whatever the going rate is. Make sure you keep your equipment up to date, and make sure you're rolling those fingers correctly. Because God forbid you send a card and they say, "No, you gotta redo this." That's a hassle. But yeah. So if you're interested in ink fingerprinting, the girl's name is Tiana, and she is in the Notary Education Group Facebook group. Oh, yeah. So this will be a good time to tell you guys that I reopened my old group. Oh, okay. Okay, Michael, you did that in court. Okay. Yeah, do the ink fingerprint. If you already know how to do it, then you already halfway there. All you gotta do is offer the service and get the equipment. I've never had to do it. I did fingerprints for a job when I was working for the school board. I only worked for the school board one school year, and I had to do fingerprints, and it was digital. I did it downtown here. So, oh, he was a. Oh, I mean, you were a bailiff. I said he was. You were a bailiff. Okay. Well, then you already know how to do it. Then, which one do you? Which one would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to do digital or ink? I would want to do ink. Just because. And I guess it's area specific too, because in my area, there is not a lot of people doing the ink one. And people need it because people are working, excuse me, remotely. They're working here and they may need to do fingerprints and send them outside the state and they can't find nobody. I don't want to offer it because I just would feel bad because unlike you, I don't know how to roll nobody's fingers. And I know I could take the training, but I just don't know if I want to deal with that. But I can imagine, like, that would be cool. You're a mobile fingerprint person. You can go to the person's house, do their fingerprint cards, leave a card with them, tell them to mail it off, and get your money. Shoot, that'll be more than a mobile notary appointment for sure. Because I mean, how long you got to be there and prep them? Digital is faster, but everybody doing it. Nobody's doing ink, and people need ink. Like I said, it's also area specific. If you got a lot of people who do ink in your area, then yeah, digital would be better. But if you're like my mom, who couldn't find nobody to do ink, she finally found someone, but she had a really hard time. She was so frustrated. Everybody was offering digital, nobody was offering ink, and she ended up stumbling upon a person who was doing it. So that's just my opinion on that. If you're gonna do it, I think ink is less of an investment, and you probably get more customer requests since ain't nobody doing ink. Yeah, nobody's doing ink. Everybody doing digital, but you can't send digital prints outside of the state. Well, that's good. That's good. You offer ink. I wish you were here where we were when my mom needed somebody to do ink because she couldn't find nobody, and I was like, that's one resource I don't have. I know that my mailbox place offers it, but it's digital. Because when I would go in there and get my mail, I would see them doing it. It's all digital. They had a computer and everything. So yeah, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Any other ones I haven't talked about? I totally forgot about the fingerprint. Didn't add that to the list. Any other ones? Oh yeah, I was talking about the marijuana one, which I was just like, that don't really make a whole lot of sense. But I went ahead and did the course because I was wondering, like, okay, well, maybe it's something that I could do, but no, it's not. It's not like that. I called a couple offices near me. They was like, we don't never have to get documents notarized for the marijuana paperwork. I was like, really? I was like, okay. So that course just sent me on a wild goose chase. Luckily, I didn't have to pay for it, so I was cool with it. But that's why you got to do your research. Just because they offering a course for it, don't mean you just jump and take it. Um, the person who was offering it is a reputable person, so that's why I took it. I didn't have to do my research because I've been following them for years. That's how I got the knowledge that I have as a notary. But the course was not what I thought it was going to be. It was all information that I already knew. And like I said, when I did the phone calls to see if I could, you know, be the person, be the office go-to notary for their paperwork, they're like, we don't ever have to get our paperwork notarized for that. Like, who told you that? I'm like, oh, well, okay. Felt a little dumb, but I'm like, okay. Called two offices, and they both told me the same thing. And I was like, I ain't calling no more offices. So I'm gonna leave it alone. But I got the little certificate. I don't think I ever posted it. Yeah, but they give you a little certificate so you can feel important. And I just feel like if you're going to take any courses, make sure that it's a skill that you are going to use. Okay? It doesn't make sense to get the knowledge on how to do something and you know you're not going to do it. You know, that's what we call, um, I forgot the name of it, information junkies. That's what we call information junkies. They're only acquire information because they want to feel important, but they're not going to ever do anything with it. So don't be that person. Okay? Acquire skills that you know you're going to use because we all out here want to make money. So it don't make sense for you to invest your time and money into something that you're never going to do. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. All right, guys. All right, there's my hour. And I am going to call it a night. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And Michael, thank you for giving us that information. And if you guys didn't get that information, he was talking about digital fingerprinting. Okay. And he shared what the cost was, shared how or who has to get their cut of your funds that you make from doing digital fingerprinting. He used to be a bailiff. So he did the ink and digital fingerprinting. And then, oh, I was telling you guys that I opened up my old Facebook group because the newer Facebook group, it was not a whole lot of people really talking about notary stuff or business stuff. It was just people who found my notary group and they were advertising their services. And so the whole group was full of people and their freaking advertisers. I'm like, so this new group, and Stephanie, I think I made you a moderator in that group. In this new group, we have to approve all the posts because I'm not about to have a whole nother group of just people just selling stuff. I want people to be offering resources and engaging with people. And, like, remember when I looked for a notary a couple of times. I need a notary and nobody is available. And I'm like, now I know it's got to be a notary in this group who want to make some money. Why ain't nobody responding? Because people are just there to fill a space. And I don't want a group of people who just want to be a part of the group to fill a space. I actually want people who are going to help each other, share information that we all think could be beneficial, and have a little fun too. Okay. So my old group has 15,000 plus people in it, and I invite you to join it. It's the Notary Education Group Support for Notaries 2. Okay, so it's two ones um, for Roman numeral 2, and go ahead and request access. If I see you on there, I will let you in. That's another thing too, Stephanie. I'm not letting anybody just automatically join anymore. If you're not a notary, I'm not letting you in the group. If you want to become a notary, I'm gonna shoot you an email or a message asking you, well, if you want to become a notary, why do you want to join the group? Are you joining the group to get more information? Because you can find the information you're looking for in another place other than joining the group. I really want the group to be helpful to people. I don't just want it to be a place for marketing. Okay. Share information that can help us. Okay. And then if you're looking for a notary, if you need a notary for a witness, you need a notary to do a job because you can't do a job, I want you to be able to ask in my group and say, hey, I got a job, I can't do it. Anybody want it? You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of resource I want that group to be. So Stephanie, if I think I did. I'm gonna go and look. I think I did make you a moderator. I'm probably just gonna have to make you. I, th- I think I made you a moderator and a group expert. I think you're both. I'm not sure, but yeah, Stephanie, double check for me so I can make sure that you're both because we do. I do want us to make this work better than the last group because I'm tired of it. Like I don't mind the marketing. Like the girl who does the fingerprinting, somebody asked for that and I remembered her name. So I told her to post about it. That's totally different than people just randomly just posting about, yeah, I could do you a logo. Yeah, I could do your website. You got 5 people in the group. posting the same thing. I'm like, guys, if they want a website and a logo, they will reach out to you. You don't have to keep posting and filling up the whole dang on timeline with all your advertisements. Because then when somebody's looking for important information, they're not going to be able to find it because all you see is these marketing ads for, I could do your website, I could do your logo. I got this new class. I want you to follow me on YouTube. And like, come on. It's not that I don't mind you doing it, but every day, like where's going to be all the help posts? We can't find the help posts. Like just if you're going to post every day, post on your own page. Okay. Now you want to post once a week, that's better than once a day, every day. Like, come on. It was overloaded. It was ridiculous. I'm looking like, come on, you know. And in the rules, it says to make sure that you got approval. Nobody's getting my approval, and it's like, it's crazy. So yeah, if you guys are interested, that's the new Facebook group. Okay, the old one is currently paused. I can't delete it, which I think is stupid that Facebook doesn't let you do that. I have to remove everyone first. So over 2,000 people in that group. So go ahead and do whatever you think you need to do, Stephanie. That's why you're the moderator. I trust your judgment. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and check out of here. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing with me that information, Michael. I will see you guys again next Sunday. Everybody have a wonderful week and a good night. Bye. You're welcome.